Today, we're excited to have Marija Skujina, CEO of Plan Your Baby, a leading global telehealth fertility and pregnancy clinic. Marija, a certified fertility expert with over 9 years of experience, has been instrumental in providing holistic telehealth services in fertility and pregnancy care. At Plan Your Baby, she leads a team of specialists in offering personalized, non-invasive treatments with a remarkable success rate. Welcome to Keep IT Healthy podcast, the show hosted by people making things happen in technology, aiming to optimize healthcare delivery, health, well-being, and fitness. My name is Jan Kamiński and I'm the co-founder of AppLover, a company dedicated to improving the quality of life with IT solutions and digital advisory. We started making this podcast to amplify great thinking to propel healthcare forward. Hi, it's great to have you with us.
Hi, Jan. Thank you so much for having me today.
Could you share what inspired you to specialize in fertility and reproductive technology?
The story started probably more than 13 years ago when I was working in a children's hospital oncology department. And it was probably the toughest journey for me, definitely, but I guess for any medic. And I always had a desire to help people. But after 2 years working with children within the settings where you feel very powerless and you can't fight with the cancer, and I decided to transfer myself to a field where actually I will have some kind of not necessarily control, but ability to actually create life, and that's how I decided to move to fertility.
What challenges did you face in your journey and how did they shape your approach to fertility care?
I think probably reason number one that actually makes me feel why it's so challenging to work in fertility is the industry itself and what industry has to offer to those who are heartbroken with different diagnoses, different life stories in a different circumstances, appearing to be in a situation where they're not able to have children. And at the moment, unfortunately, the treatment itself, it's incredibly expensive. It creates not only psychological and emotional burden, but also a financial burden. And I think that's what I really find the most challenging within the industry. And we are really working hard at Plan Your Baby to change that, to make the journey and the treatment be more accessible, more affordable, and on terms that patients always wish to have.
You mentioned you have various experiences across different clinics, and then you founded Plan Your Baby. But what distinguishes Plan Your Baby from other fertility clinics?
It was very interesting first how we founded Plan Your Baby. Myself and our medical director, we've known each other for more than 10 years, and immediately during our day-to-day experience working with the patients, we've identified that patients really need more caring approach, very patient-centered approach. And we always wanted to deliver private healthcare, the highest expertise in the country, to the remote areas. And that's what exactly distinguishing Plan Your Baby from other clinics, that we actually have managed to create access to the highest expertise in the country to nationwide. Plan Your Baby is accessible in more than 350 locations in UK. So patients actually through the telehealth approach can be in Wales, Birmingham, Leeds, Oxford, Edinburgh now. So any city you name, they can do the blood test, ultrasound scan, they can have access to our medical team, and we are monitoring their treatment on a daily basis, receiving the results within a couple of hours. And therefore, we actually have ability to monitor them from being on a Harley Street, treating someone who is based in Edinburgh, without patients having a need to spend huge amount of money and time traveling to London.
Could you elaborate on the holistic treatment approach that Plan Your Baby offers?
That's actually one of the most interesting questions. Since the IVF was discovered, now it's probably coming to 45 years, it's elaborated to first-line solutions. Now everyone heard about IVF. There are probably about not thousands, but millions of clinics around, across the globe. And IVF is sold to patients as a first-line solution, but we are really undermining the fact that it's incredibly expensive and it's incredibly invasive. Patients really need to inject more than 100 times during the treatment cycle themselves in the tummy, in the muscle, going through hundreds of appointments, and to face this journey from the toughest side. Eventually, what we've managed to build with our clinical team, we are managing to address more than 13 causes of infertility through the holistic approach. We try to control and help patients to achieve pregnancy with the most common diagnosis through the non-invasive approach. We do have a specialist, psychologist, fertility coach, nutritionist, and our team, we try first to help patients to achieve pregnancy through the medicated cycle, but not IVF. And we're really trying hard to make this successful within the 3 consecutive months. And when, of course, when we can't help them to have baby through this approach, we can offer IVF, but we really strive to offer patients and support the decision to have non-invasive treatment, because first, it's 10 times less expensive than IVF, it's 10 times less invasive than IVF, and it's still very tailored treatment plan. So that's how we approach the holistic side of it.
Regarding the IVF, you mentioned 45 years. It obviously comes with a lot of, as you mentioned, emotional, financial challenges. How does Plan Your Baby addresses that?
What we try to do, we try to simplify the whole journey through the telehealth to start with. So we're trying to make treatment be very accessible. It is not a secret that unfortunately it's very difficult to take time off from work, and very common it's unpaid leave, and patients really need to dedicate a lot of time to the treatment. So what we've managed to create, we've created a collaboration and a net of partnerships where our patients have access to multiple locations. And not even that, we've recently launched mobile phlebotomy. So that means the nurse can come to a patient's home, take the blood sample, and then deliver it to our laboratory. And that makes patient feel very cared about and allows not to take any time off or spend any money on travel. And we really underestimate the effect what stress causing to ourselves, not only during the fertility journey, but in general. And during the fertility treatment, what we've seen very often, unfortunately, treatment did not work. Then patients, they do take time off, they go on holiday, they come back, they're pregnant. And then we're all wondering, well, how did that happen? Well, let's look back and see. Eventually, they've been on Maldives, Seychelles, enjoying themselves with a glass of wine even, and things happening because they don't stress, they don't worry, they're there for themselves, looking after each other. And that's what we are trying as a clinic to deliver. We're trying to look after our clients. We're trying to actually, I would say, even get rid of the very conservative approach, what we think clinics should be. From our perspective, clinic should be the place where patient actually comes and she feels that this is the safest place. Staff will help me. They will answer on my emails. We don't have a reception line, so there is no need to call and wait for 25 minutes until someone will answer your line. We actually introduced the WhatsApp chats for our patients, and they message to us. They receive immediate reply. So I think this is how we see the future and how clinics should work, and on terms that convenient for the patients.
So it's essentially building a clinic more patient-centric, patient-oriented than the traditional way.
Yes, it's like, we are flying and sending ships to the moon, but eventually there is no access to a doctor. You still have to travel for 2 hours driving your car if you want to see your doctor. And it really makes me wonder why it's still happening. We had the whole world locked in a couple of years ago when we just entered the first lockdown during the COVID. And now all of a sudden we are back to normality that actually fits within the 20 years ago structure. So in 2024, we really believe that telehealth should be a way moving forwards, especially for the clinics, and to make life more convenient to start with for the patients.
What are the most common misconceptions people have about fertility treatments, IVF, and other?
I think the biggest misconception could be that we think eventually uh, we will have sex once and we'll get pregnant. That's what we've all been told since the teenager years. Don't have sex without protection, otherwise you will have pregnancy. In reality, you will have hundreds and hundreds of times sexual intercourse and pregnancy still will not happen. And I always support everyone and encourage, please do the simple checkouts, do the ultrasound scan, do the blood test, just to actually find out, well, how fertile you are, to help yourself to make the informed decision before you enter the stage where the problem will be identified. And then you will have to seek medical support to achieve the pregnancy. Now, there are some tools that allows us to have control of the situation, and one of the tools is actually, it's the time. It's to do all of the checks exactly on time without any delays. And another misconception what I would like to address is the male factor, that unfortunately in the last 50 years we see a huge, massive decline of the male factor. And we're not addressing that because it's all stigmatized. We all want to believe and we want to feel that, our manhood shouldn't be jeopardized by by the sperm test, and it's apparently still shameless to go to the doctor and to do the semen analysis and to do the checkups. And I think this is where we actually need to provide the most support to the patients, to not to feel ashamed by doing the tests, and not to and stop being ashamed by this problem. It really breaks my heart when I hear that 1 in 4 pregnancies in 2024 worldwide ends as a miscarriage. So we lose every fourth pregnancy, and we still don't talk about this. And there are things that can be done to save the pregnancy, to de-risk the pregnancy. And this is also what we try to do at Plan Your Baby, because we don't want our patients to hear, in UK, unfortunately, the system works, the national healthcare system works, that patients need to go through 3 miscarriages before they will receive help, before the investigations will be offered. And I really can't accept it, not only for myself and as a mother as well, but for someone who is also planning the pregnancy in the future, that I actually will have to touch the wood, but will have to lose 3 pregnancies before the national healthcare system will offer me any support. And it shouldn't be normalized. No, it shouldn't be normal to lose a pregnancy at the first instance at all, and the help should come straight away, rather than to make them go through this journey where psychologically it will be very traumatized.
Do you think, regarding the education that you mentioned, that's so important, does the state helps or not really, rather private sector does it?
To be honest, now the situation is changing, and there are a lot of non-profit organizations that now raising awareness. There are a lot of different companies also working together with the state to address the problem. And I think being united and addressing the problem, that's what actually helping us to evolve and to support more patients. Of course, state by itself can't do everything. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. It's an economical problem, it's the funds, it's the backlog of the appointments. So of course they have to seek support from the private sector, and this is where we have all of the IVF clinics, and now we have a lot of different companies that have been launched very recently in the last 5 years to address the problem, to actually fight with not only lack of education that we see right now, but also to support those who are on the journey and to receive the quality advice.
I want to come back to the technology aspect, and in what ways has technology transformed fertility treatments in recent years? You just mentioned IVF 45 years, but like what changed significantly in treatments?
I think in the last 5 years, The genomics has changed significantly. And now we have the technologies that are allowing us to identify the issues that we actually inherit, the chromosomal issues or some diseases that we inherit from our parents. And that's something that we can identify prior we plan the pregnancy. And I think this is the biggest phenomenon of 21st century, that we now have control of this. And another discovery that, of course, everyone is now talking about is AI. So now we can see AI in fertility world as well, where actually technology allows us now to monitor the embryos, the division of the cells, and hopefully to predict the outcome of the certain embryo. So that's something that definitely is helping us in our industry.
Okay, but that's more a general view. But what about Plan Your Baby? How do you leverage technology to improve patient outcomes?
When we collect cells and start to cultivate them and fertilize, we work with the latest technologies, something called a time lapse. It's the latest version of the incubators that are looking at the embryos and the cells itself, so 24/7. So we have the control 24/7 on the cell division, and without invasive manipulations on the embryos, something called PGTA, we actually can make a conclusion which embryo potentially is genetically healthy embryo.
I saw that when I was doing the research, that you have a success rate of 4 out of 5 clients achieving fertility outcomes. And what do you attribute to this high success rate to, in a sense? Like, is it holistic treatment or is it technology?
It's a combination of many different factors, and probably I won't be shy here. I'm incredibly lucky to have a very strong clinical team at Plan Your Baby. Our medical director has more than 20 years of experience, and all of the insights and expertise that he gained in his career is actually what improves the patient's outcome. We do pay attention to details. We try not to leave any rock unturned. We try to address the actual reason why patients couldn't conceive pregnancy naturally, and by actually tailoring the treatment plan very precisely, this is what helps us to achieve success. And our laboratory as well, we do have laboratory according to the latest standards, and as I said, so we use different technologies to monitor the embryos, to help us to identify which embryo actually will lead to a successful outcome.
How do you ensure a personalized care? In a sense, you mentioned telehealth, so I'm also wondering how it works with the telehealth setting.
We first choose what is incredibly important for our team is the voice of tone. How do we address our customer? We always will advocate for our patients regardless of the situation. We choose the tools that are convenient for our patients. And as I said before, so we don't have a reception where patients have to call and wait for 20 minutes. We try to make us being accessible for the patient. So it can be WhatsApp, it can be email, any other tool that they prefer, but there is no waiting time for our patients as soon as they start treatment with us. And through the telehealth as well, all of the treatment notes, all of the results, everything, as soon as we receive, it will become available for the patients through the portal. So they actually can review their treatment online together with us. And as soon as we come back to them with all of the recommendations regarding the medications or changing within the treatment plan, anything, so they can review everything within the live regime. And I think that's what actually makes the difference for the patients to feel that they actually have control over their treatment, and not to be in a situation where you receive an information, you receive the instructions to take some medications, and you don't know what's happening with your body. You are in the middle of the treatment and you don't even have a single blood test to look at, and you don't have the interpretation of the results. And I think that's what makes us being slightly different from other clinics, that actually we take our patient through the journey with a really holding hand approach.
Could you discuss the importance of psychological support in this particular fertility treatments?
In regards of the importance, I think the statistics as PTS only can be every third marriage ends up divorce and fertility treatment is not making the life and relationships easy. And unfortunately, sex becoming a mechanical action rather than something that's supposed to be very enjoyable. And it's without joke saying, unfortunately, the process is that the time comes, you take the medication and you have to have sex. And everyone works. There are some other things that happening around the treatment. And how do you behave? How do you feel yourself relaxed? Well, there is no way you can if you don't get the right psychological support. And again, we're incredibly lucky to work with Louise and Rebecca, who is supporting our patients on the journey. And Louise, our psychologist, recently published a book exactly addressing the psychology within the fertility settings and treatment. And it's the first book that's been published by the doctor, by the psychologist, to being a specialist exactly in fertility. And our patients who are both the clinics, so they absolutely find it unvaluable. So it's probably the best that we could have given to them during the treatment. It's important to talk. It's sometimes very difficult even to talk to your partner about the situation, and this is the time when the feeling coming and the blame, and you start to feel like, you start to blame your partner because you are in this situation and you constantly have to go through the pain and again and again. And if the treatment does not work, what do you do? How do you resolve the situation? And of course, when you are, surrounded by these problems, you can't just find the easy solution. So you need to seek help from the outside. And I think any clinic should offer patients the psychological support. Without this, it's becoming incredibly difficult for them to go through the journey.
I can imagine. I'm sure it's very personal in a sense. I want to talk about the future as well. Where do you see Plan Your Baby in the next, let's say, 3 years?
It's always says, there is a very nice saying that my friend always telling to me: create what you wish existed. And this is what exactly I think. I really wish for my patients to have a clinic where they will have a complete end-to-end support right from the beginning of the journey up until the end of the pregnancy, with someone who will hold their hand, with someone who will always address their problems and always will come and be there for them. Either it's, you don't have medication, or it's a prescription, or it's a nurse who will come to your home to take your bloods because you are too busy working. And I think this is where really we're standing for, is to create clinic like this. We will scale in UK. We will extend our operations to make sure that we can help in the most rarest locations where patients really don't have access to private healthcare. We've started the expansion to Dubai, and hopefully in the MENA region we will continue growing.
Why Dubai?
It's well, Dubai became the capital of the world now, almost. Let's say it this way, almost. I think many different factors. The market is not as saturated as Europe or US, and now in Dubai you see a lot of expats moving here for a different quality of life, for sunshine, and not to have a lack of vitamin D as well. And I think that's what actually motivated the. In Dubai, you have now ability to build something completely new and a new generation clinic. And UK, just because we've been there, we know the market, and we wanted to start to help where we started.
Right. No, I agree completely. Coming back to the future, let's say, what future advancements in infertility care are you, let's say, hoping for, or are you most excited about?
What I'm excited about, I think, is to have the technologies and that will help us to help patients and monitor the treatments and to de-risk the pregnancies. And I think this is where AI technologies in the future will help us. And there are a lot of different companies now that started to work with the patient's clinical data to analyze the hormones, to analyze the embryos itself. And hopefully the new technologies really will change the landscape of the clinics, or how we really used to see clinics in the past. And then the future will bring us more towards the, if not fully, but 80% to telehealth, and 85-90% of treatment will be done completely remote.
And do you have a comparison now? What's the ratio between telehealth and standard visits?
So if we do talk about UK market, in UK, probably 80% of the clinics, it's in-person visits. So the way how the operations are set and the way how the clinicians are working, so it still takes a personal visit for the patient. Now, at Plan Your Baby, 85% of the treatments are done remotely. And this is purely because how we've managed to build our operations. And behind the scene, behind the curtains, we work really hard to make it happen for the patients. But eventually, yes. So this is where our goal is, to make sure that patient will have about 85% of the treatment done remotely, and we really will eliminate the unnecessary trips.
I heard one of the podcasts you were in, and in the appearance you discussed some alternative fertility treatments. Could you first talk more about that, and how have these discussions influenced the public perception or awareness, or what is a public perception or awareness about the alternative fertility treatments?
So alternative fertility treatments, it's what we offer at Plan Your Baby. We call it assistance with conception. So alternative to IVF, which is less invasive and less expensive. And as I said, it's over the sudden, IVF started to be offered and sold as a basket of apples. You just go and buy it, and it's supposed to be an easy purchase. Well, it's not easy purchase when you have to actually pay £10,000 per treatment, just like that. And no brainer. You choose the clinic, you go, you buy, you leave with a baby. I wish it could be this way, but it's not even close to that. And what we really need to have is alternative to IVF, because the statistics shows, and sadly enough, a lot of IVF cycles are done unnecessarily. And actually, in a lot of cases, it can be easily avoided by just tweaking, twisting, and prescribing the right medication for the patient that can help them to achieve pregnancy without IVF. There are a lot of now devices that coming on the market and helping again with a different diagnosis to achieve pregnancy without IVF. A different type of catheters, inseminators, or devices that controls and checks the blood tests without the hormones, without doing the actual venous blood collection. So there are a lot of things that now we can see that can really help patients, and this is where we've started to build the partnerships with the companies to actually to make this treatment be more, I would say, accessible. And so the patients also become aware of the treatment options, because IVF is the only what you hear. As soon as you go to Dr. Google, you press the button and you send the word fertility, you only will hear IVF. The links will pop out saying the only options will be IVF, but that's absolutely not true. And I think thanks to all of the companies that now working on the mission to address the different options, we start now to discover that there are some different devices that can help to achieve the pregnancy, or a treatment that actually will include only some medications for a short period of time, and that can help patients to achieve pregnancy.
What's the difference in pricing between those two approaches, let's say, more or less? I know it's very individual.
So the assistance with conception priced approximately £1,000, where you will have the blood test, the ultrasound scan, and medications. And then IVF priced on average in UK between £7,500 to £12,000 per cycle.
So 10,000.
It's about, £10,000. And according to statistics, patients needs to have 3.2 2 cycles to achieve the pregnancy. So if we do a simple math, approximately you need to invest close to £40,000 before you will leave the hospital with a baby on your hands.
Yeah, that's and then you mentioned the alternatives are 10 times cheaper. So
10 times cheaper, 10 times less invasive. Absolutely.
what would be the advice you would give to young professionals in tech or not necessarily that are interested in pursuing a career in fertility healthcare in general?
Well, I think it's the most important, if it's not necessarily fertility field, but the most important is if you do go and study medicine, you really need to have a desire to help. And it's purely based on the altruism, because it's all about helping someone to make their life easier, to deliver to them either the surgery, the baby, whatever it comes to. So, and infertility, you in 80% of the cases, or even more, you will see couples heartbroken. And how many times I've cried with them, and they've been on my shoulder, because it's important to feel that this is your passion and you are here because you want to help purely. And I think that's probably my biggest motivation, what I have, why I've entered fertility. And always don't forget that it's going to be an endless studies. As soon as you enter university, you will just never leave it.
That's inspiring. But Marija, thank you very much for joining today. And where can our audience find you and the clinic?
Plan Your Baby is very active on the social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can also WhatsApp us on our website, which is planyourbaby.co.uk.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Stay in touch with us. Subscribe to our podcast, give us a like, comment, or share. If you want to reach out personally, you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram.